My buddy Rick from Thailand, haven't seen him in 7 years.
Just shows up out of the blue.
Shows up, they're doing 18 million, and we literally figured out a way, use CHIIRP to 5x them.
Yeah.
I mean, from 18 to 20 million to 100 million, literally going to change the game for them. There's nothing like this.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing like this. And I love this because I know what it's going to mean to A1. There's a good chance that CHIIRP could add $100 million to our valuation. Yeah. All right, guys. Today's a very exciting day for me. Ryan Fenn's become a great friend of mine. If you haven't heard of CHIIRP, it's a great company. We use it here at A1. It's a game changer. You guys decided to sponsor one of my vertical track events, and I'm sitting there in the audience, and everybody's coming up to me like, do you use CHIIRP? And I'm like, go to my right-hand Swiss Army. His name's Jim Leslie. And I said, why aren't we using CHIIRP? And he goes, oh, they would need to develop quite a bit of things. We're in 40 markets. We've got a very complex, sophisticated price book. And so I talked to you. Kevin might have been there, and you're like, we'll do it. It was like unlocking the beast. And we're still building sequences, A/B testing. You know, Ryan's an expert of text message automation, online lead generation, appointment generation, scalability. He's the CEO of CHIIRP since 2018. It's a platform strategically crafted to streamline follow-up messaging for home service businesses, resulting in heightened ROI. I'm a big fan. You guys are taking over the world. Tell me a little bit about why you started CHIIRP, where you're going, what's up new in life.
You know, I'm very entrepreneurial. I didn't finish high school. I just wanted to get straight into business. And I started a windshield repair business, and it was when my first son was born. It was kind of like one of those situations. We had like $500 in the bank, and it was like, you're either sink or swim, dude. You either feed your kid or he's going to die. And I got out there and I started, like, my brother and I were selling windshield repair door to door. And then we started doing it out of a gas station. Like, as cars would come in, we'd like wash their windshield. If we saw a chip on their windshield, we'd be like, hey, we fixed those. Why don't you pull over here and we'll fix them? Pretty soon we were in like several different gas stations, and then like the Toyota dealership came to us and like, hey, why don't you do it out of our service drive? And the next thing you know, we're in like 9 dealerships.
$500 a day.
Yeah, we make like $500 a day per like location, and then, you know, paying a tech $200-300 a day. They're stoked, we're stoked. And it was a great business. We made great money. I got the idea to create a course back before courses were like a thing. It was like 2014. I saw it as an opportunity for like young entrepreneurs, like how to learn how to start a business. So I showed them how to start a windshield repair business. And I started selling that course online with Facebook ads, and I would text the leads as they would come in. And the conversion rate was insane. We made like $2 million selling that course. And it was all because I was texting these leads, and we were using like several different like automations and trying to like piece together, like duct tape all these softwares together. I was like, well, if this is working for me, I feel like it would work for other businesses. I want to bring all of this, like what I'm doing with this business, I want to bring it all into one place and then offer it. And so I had worked with Kevin, my engineer, like long time ago. He was an engineer for his own business. He built like some really cool, innovative software for shopping carts in the early 2000s. So I called him up. I'm like, hey, I got this really great idea. What do you think? And he's like, man, I have been wanting to do this. I've been wanting to get back into software. He had like semi-retired. He's like, I've been wanting to get back in for like months. I'm so glad you called. So he like dove right in. It was about 8 months we had a product that was mostly just for Facebook ads, and then immediately texting those Facebook ads. That was like the minimum viable. It took us a few years. We continued to enhance the product, continue to add a bunch of features. We're finding automations throughout the entire customer journey. We were kind of going after like lots of different niches that we didn't, it was just like anybody that was selling something could use it, you know? We had some home service guys, specifically one really cool guy out of Denver, Oscar. He's a carpet cleaner, and he uses House Call Pro, and he's like, hey, why don't you integrate into House Call Pro? And I was like, well, let's look at that. And pretty soon we had this really cool integration. That's what really was the turning point for CHIIRP. Because you go to people and it's like, hey, you can use this really cool thing. And like, well, we have this thing over here, and how does it tie together? And we're trying to change like major things in their business. It's difficult to do. But once we showed that we could integrate with what they're doing, that was the ticket. And we just like launched, went crazy. And that's when we got into Service Titan. And now we're in most of the major CRMs.
We're working out a big deal with Jobber.
Service Monster, yep. All these guys. We found like throughout the customer journey, all these various triggers to increase lead conversion. They're not having to change what they're doing within their CRM because it's communicating to CHIIRP and telling it what to do at the right points. That's when things really took off for us.
Full disclosure, I was so obsessed. You came to my house, and I made you an offer for a small, tiny little sliver just because I wanted more access. I wanted Jim to work deeper to build this for A1. I can say this. Right now, our rehash department has never made more money. That's when a lead doesn't close. We're sending a text out, setting an appointment, following up, closing the deal. I talked to a chimney company, good buddy of mine, Lee, in Texas. He's using CHIIRP for non-booked calls. So you guys built an automation. Unbooked calls, we can send them a nice video from me, and we're recovering a good half of those calls back.
Yep.
Increased conversion rate. Increased booking rate, increased average ticket, but I've used several different review generation tools. CHIIRP does a better job. There's nobody that you said you've worked with that the big names that everyone uses for reviews, CHIIRP works better, especially for multi-location to make sure all the reviews are coming into the different GVPs or Google My Business pages.
Yep.
I had a real big problem where we had to program LiftMasters, and my texts take half an hour. CHIIRP, every time we saw a LiftMaster, my queue automation is sent to the customer. We were running 750 customer courtesy calls a month out of the 16,000 whatever calls we run. When somebody pulls the string, there's a surge, or the safety eyes misaligned. So we got 3 main reasons we run customer courtesy calls. Now the customer gets a text saying the 3 main topics of how to fix it themselves. 1 call for me is $185. You're not selling this for enough. It's under a few grand a month. I mean, it's ridiculous. And your average customer, I think you said, is getting 70x return. There's nothing else like this.
There are a lot of things that fit into it where it's like, oh, my system already does a part of that. My goal was to make this an end-to-end solution for every type of automation that you can think of. I want to do estimate follow-ups, but I only want to do them on this very specific job type or this business or this tag, or I have a very specific follow-up for this thing that I sell, but I want a different follow-up for this thing. That's the whole idea, is that gives you that freedom to build very specific follow-ups. That was the whole vision. It's like, I want freedom for people to be able to build whatever automation comes to their minds, because it's always changing, right? It's like what works today might not work in a month, or in 6 months.
And you got to be A/B testing.
Yeah. And so we can say, hey, we can hand you all these pre-built campaigns, and they'll probably work right now. But you got to know that they're going to change. You got to be able to think outside of the box. We have we were just talking to those guys that sell filters. It's like, hey, there's a new idea. Maybe instead of doing a tune-up campaign, you offer filter things. So there's
So last night, we just got done with the HSF event, and these guys I haven't seen. My buddy Rick from Thailand, haven't seen him in 7 years.
Just shows up out of the blue.
Shows up. They're doing 18 million, and we literally figured out a way. Use CHIIRP to 5x them.
Yeah.
I mean, from 18 to 20 million to 100 million, literally going to change the game for them. Here's the hard part. I always say this about service side, and I'll say this about CHIIRP too. Most people don't realize this is the Lamborghini Countach that they've always dreamed of, but they got it stuck in first gear. Even the majority of people using CHIIRP today are using 1/10 of its ability.
100%.
They don't think about the 10 different strategies, and I've got all the ways here. I mean, literally.
Yeah, we'll go through.
I mean, less recalls, more booked phone calls, way higher rehash team or revisit team. It could literally make you millions of dollars a month in a decent sized company.
Yeah, think of it in terms of like the entire customer journey, right? Let's start at the very beginning. People aren't even realizing that they're getting good lead conversion, so they feel good. And they're like, hey, things are going pretty good. But they don't even realize that if they just increase or decrease the amount of time it's taking them to contact their leads, they could see huge jumps in their return.
Is it? You showed a chart. Explain to me.
So this was done by Salesforce a few years back, and it's probably worse now because our attention spans are even worse than they've ever been. They did a study across millions of form fills. The data shows that if we contact our leads within 1 minute of form fill, we're going to have our best chance of converting that lead within 1 minute. It's like a 400% better chance of converting. The moment you drop to 2 minutes, it's cut in half. It's like 191%. So you think about that, just 1 minute difference, and your lead value is cut in half. And down to 3 minutes, and now you're into like the 98%, and in 3
so
to
now
30.
It's a fourth.
Yeah, it's a
and
fourth.
And then it just keeps falling
and it keeps
off.
dropping, right?
30 minutes in is when you're like,
30 minutes in, you might. It's like they don't even remember filling out the form, and they're off to doing something completely different, right? And so we find that if we just contact the lead within that first minute, we're immediately going to see a return on investment, because they're going, oh no, I'm contacting my leads very quickly. Okay, how fast? Oh, 3 to 5 minutes. Oof, there you go, right there. There's an opportunity to increase your ROI on your leads by dropping that 3 minutes to 1 minute. Okay, how do we do that? Well, you can't just have a CSR sitting there waiting to pick up the phone the moment a lead drops and pick up the phone and call them within a minute. With automation, we can start that. We're not trying to get rid of the CSR. We're not trying to eliminate their job. We're trying to turn them into superhumans that can do way more, right? That lead comes in. Let's say you're using Angie leads, everybody's favorite, right? Angie leads.
It's all speed to leading.
That's the game, right? People are like, oh, those leads suck. Well, how are you contacting them fast enough? Yeah, within 5 minutes. Well, that's not fast enough, right? And so if we create that automation for the Angie leads or Thumbtack, whatever it is, the lead comes in, the text goes out just as if the CSR had typed it out herself, and it goes out and says, hey, thank you so much for requesting a quote. And then it starts a conversation. You can take it as far as you want. You can say, have AI continue that conversation. When they respond, have the CSR continue it. It's up to you on how you want to do it. You have that freedom within CHIIRP to decide how you want to handle the leads. That first text is the key, getting it out within that first minute. And that alone, if you just did that, we did that with a company that's doing $40 million. We increased their conversion rate on one of their lead sources by 9%. Okay, that doesn't seem like a lot, but you're a $40 million company, 9% on a lead source, that's a pretty big increase just by doing jump. That one of 100 different things within CHIIRP that they could do.
So if I bought out CHIIRP and kept it only for A1.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's such a competitor. Here's where I feel like I'm going to win with CHIIRP. Number one is Jim Leslie's on the back end now.
Yeah,
that was my small investment to give him access.
Yep.
We're building out a lot of cool stuff for A1, but here's the deal. I'm going to lock myself in a studio, and I'm going to record 10 different messages for every single campaign.
Yep.
We're going to find out which one delivers the best. This is what I said. Most people that are even using it are not even close to using what it's built for, which is everything.
Yeah. Check this one out. This one's like, this will blow your mind. It's all about personal touch, right? That's how we build a moat around our business, right? Where we making the customer feel like we're really invested in this deal between the two of you, right? And if they don't feel good at the end of the day, it's not a good experience for them, even if you do a really good job. One of this is a new one a guy's testing out, but I think it's genius. The text message goes out. People go, well, I have scheduled appointment reminders in my system. Well, check this out. He has the scheduled appointment reminder going out. The moment they book the job, a text goes out. Thank you for booking with, whatever the company name is. Your appointment is confirmed for this time, da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay? That's the normal text that's going to go out when somebody books, right? A couple minutes later, he has a text message come from a different phone number that is a personal text message from the owner of the company with a link to a video that says, hey, this is, let's say it's you, Tommy. Hey, it's Tommy with A1 Garage Door. Thank you so much for booking with us. I really appreciate it. I can't tell you how much this means to me. We want to make sure you experience a really good thing. If you feel like you don't have a really good experience, this is my number. Feel free to text me back and let's have a conversation. After they've booked, it's like a personal text coming from the owner going, hey, I'm here for you. I mean, that's
amazing. And, one of my campaigns that I'm working on is going to be just for a call, right? Somebody doesn't book.
Yep.
My video is going to
drop.
The thing we're working on, and we're A/B testing some stuff right now, but this is the typical 3 reasons why somebody doesn't book. Usually there might be a price reason. It might be a time scheduling question. So we do offer a price beat guaranteed A1 Garage Door service. Let us know how we could serve you. We want to earn your business. And number 2 is if it's an emergency, you need to get it done, call back right now or use the schedule engine link and say Tommy sent you and to get it on the schedule today. We want to earn your business. We want you to tell your friends, your neighbors, and your family about us. Thank you so much. I've been in the business now for almost 2 decades. Me and my mom and dad work together on this thing. We really would appreciate doing whatever it takes. But just crafting that message, making it human, making the feelings matter. Is nobody's doing this stuff.
It's all going to sit there, and their note's going to be there, but they won't do it. And that's what's really awesome about this is it gives you a competitive advantage. In home services, face it, it's commoditized. It's becoming commoditized. And if you don't create like your brand and what's going to differentiate you, you're going to die, right? And so how do you do that? Communication is an easy way to differentiate.
When you talk about communication, it's people are like, yeah, texting's cool. There's all this opt-in crap. You guys handle that. You guys do voicemail blasts. Mm-hmm. You guys could do that. You do email blasts. You're working on a way to not only do email, voicemail, text, but you're also working on a way to send flyers very soon in addition. Where you could hit bam, 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 bam. They're in my face all the time. It's so unfair. And I've got more data than probably anybody on their home service company. I mean, there's great PE companies using BI tools. I know everything about my business. We've spent millions of dollars creating the reporting tools. And I just look at one thing and I'm like, I could use CHIIRP for that. Recall rate. CHIIRP for that. If nothing else, if I don't make a dime, you made A1 Garage Door Service a much more valuable company. You move your booking rate by 3%, your conversion rate by 5%. These have a compound effect to bring millions and millions of dollars to the bottom line. You paid for the marketing. You pay to get that phone call. You showed up to their house. You should get a review. You should get several reviews.
Everybody's trying to build a business that they can sell eventually. If you have systems in place, that's going to make your business so much more value. You talk to a private equity group or something like that. You say, hey, these things are already built and running, and I can show you the efficiency. That's going to make your company way more valuable in their eyes because they're not having to come in and go, I got to clean up all your messes. So if you want like a higher multiple, this is a huge way to systematize and
arbitrage, baby.
Arbitrage, that's right.
I look at every single text message that comes in. I mean, I get on my phone and people say, my voicemail is full on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
You can't leave a voicemail.
Yeah.
I'm not on everything. I look up some of my Facebook messages other than that, but every single text that comes in is a 99.7% chance I'm seeing that within 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's huge, right? When you think about it, text message is king. I don't like to lump us into, let's not say CHIIRP is a text platform. We focus on text because right now, that's the key. That's the number one communication channel, right? If something else beats text, eventually, who knows? We'll focus on that. We do have integrations with Facebook Messenger, text message, email, voicemail. They're all in there, integrated into one inbox. But text message is focused because we have a 98% read rate, and like 70 or 80% of that was in the first 3 minutes. So when we talk about that 1 minute email, we can get it into the inbox within a minute because of automation, but the chances of them reading it within that minute is very low. If we do want somebody sitting around and picking up the phone and calling them, we might be able to get to the phone and pick it up and call within 2 to 3 minutes, but the chances of people actually answering it, it's like 20-25% because they look at the phone, they don't recognize the number, not going to answer it. How many times do you block a call that you
don't answer any calls of numbers I don't recognize?
Exactly, right. But a text message, no matter what, it still has that emotional attachment, and that causes a positive reaction, and when they open it, and it's personalized. If you open it and they immediately see, hey, 10% off, blah, blah, and it's this real markety text message, they're going to get pissed and turn it off. But if it's, hey, Tommy, thanks for requesting a quote. My name is such and such. Let's connect, and just very personal, you have a way better chance of converting that lead.
This is what Jim said was the hardest part about CHIIRP. Is you need a good copywriter, you need a good video editor, you need to be able to wire it correctly. Like, this is why people are not utilizing it correctly, and they're sitting there because they're getting a fantastic 70 times return.
Yep.
But they're still sitting in first gear. They're still like, it's like you're not even utilizing it. Like, every scenario I can think of is all about communication.
Yep.
Before they get on and destroy you online because you didn't show up on time, CHIIRP could solve that problem. I can't think of a whole lot of questions. I can't think of a whole lot that communication can't solve.
Every problem in business is because you didn't communicate well.
I watch these crappy campaigns, 10% today, 30%. Why did you just give me the best price? Like, you got to have the copywriter put in the right stuff and A/B test this stuff.
You just reminded me of one that's super cool. So rehash, right? We're trying to get out to our customers that didn't book, or you're trying to follow up with leads that maybe are a year old. You haven't
Didn't
talked to
convert.
somebody, didn't convert, whatever it is. Here's one that was like brilliant. This kid Harley has a really great restoration and carpet cleaning business. He didn't want to offer like a deal. He didn't want to go, hey, Christmas is coming up. I'm offering 10% off for whatever, right? It just sounds cliche and kind of
It's tacky.
So his approach this year was super smart. He goes, hey, it's Harley with such and such carpet cleaning. I wanted to thank you for your business last year. I also wanted to make sure that you knew that Christmas gets really crazy, and I felt bad because last year I didn't get to everybody. I wanted to make sure you were able to book this month. Are you looking to get your carpet cleaned before Christmas? And it was like huge response and no deal. No offer of a deal.
No, it's
he was
not a
able to
discount
just there's no discount, right?
Yeah.
He was like, and they responded back, "Oh, let's thank you so much. Yes, I do." And then it was boom. And so the whole point of the text was to trigger a response. And without offering the deal, he thought outside of the box, right? And was like, "Hey, instead, let's say I don't want to miss you this month. I want to make sure you get to it." That was the trigger that was key. So
my philosophy is always, I pay a fraction of the cost of what I charge, right? You're going to charge more than you pay for items. So I could add things to the job that cost me very little. When you go buy a car, they say, do you want the moonroof? Do you want the alloy wheels? Do you want the heated seats? They package it up in a way that you're getting all these things for this small monthly fee more.
Yeah.
So I try to package things up and be different than my competition. I carry parts that no one else carries, that I have trademarks on, add Deco hardware kits and surge protectors and things, and make it seem like, man, this other company's adding all these things with a better warranty, with this, and they're going to paint the door at no extra charge. Because I pay $100 to paint the door, and I'll make it match the house. There's so many different opportunities instead of being discount city.
Yeah,
right?
Instead of just racing to the bottom, going, I'll just do it cheaper than the other guys.
Well, that's
like
just
lame.
an experience, and this is unsophisticated businesses. Luke is my COO, and Luke talks all the time about ref. And I remember meeting him 5 years ago, and I go, what is ref? He goes, you got to build rapport. You've got to educate the customer. And he goes, the third one, very few companies do well. You got to follow up. You got a treasure trove sitting there of uncapitalized potential. Literally all these calls that nobody even talked to them. Some of the customers I've talked to said, the salesman showed me his solutions, not the ones I wanted.
Yeah.
Why do people avoid follow-up so much?
Follow-up is like the age-old problem in business since the beginning of time, it seems like. We've heard it a million times. Fortune is in the follow-up, right? And the reason it's become cliche is because it's an ongoing problem that nobody has solved by forcing the sales guys to do something they don't want to do. Sales guys, by nature, don't want to follow up because they love action. Sales guys want to be closing deals. They want to be in front of and they have to have that every day, right? They have to be just feeling that every day. You've had sales guys. I have sales guys where it's just like if they go a day without closing a deal, they can lose their minds, right? Oh, yeah. Just spiral out of control, right? And so these sales guys naturally want to be where the action is and follow. That's not where the action at that moment is.
It's a lot of hard work.
It's a lot of hard work. And so it's like, well, why do we continue to try to force the sales guy to do something that is not within their nature to do? Let's take that off their plate. Let's remove it and say, hey, focus on deals, focus on closing. Let systems and automation take care of your follow-up for you. And as those opportunities bubble up, then jump in and take over. So I just perfect example. I just saw one today. I was in somebody's account. A Facebook lead came in. The person did not respond to the text. They tried calling, did not answer. Okay, sales guy's job at that point is pretty much done, right? They've called, they've tried calling again the next day maybe. CHIIRP takes over and starts texting. This was literally 4 days later. The text goes out, hey, you'd requested information. Just want to make sure you're taken care of. I don't want to let this go unnoticed. Response back, sorry, I've been pretty busy, but yes, I do want it. Right then, sales guy jumps in, closes the deal, right? That text message bubbled up. The opportunity came right back. Then the sales guy jumps in. But he didn't have to sit there for 4 days hoping that thing would come in. He's working on other things while CHIIRP's working in the background. Why force them to try to do something that's just totally against their nature? Let them focus on what they do best, which is closing and like where the action is.
I think there's a lot of people out there going, they mentioned a lot of great CRMs, but I work on this new one called this or that.
Yeah.
What happens if somebody wants this software and you're not integrated properly?
Well, fortunately, we have a very deep Zapier integration, so a lot of systems we can already communicate if we don't have a direct integration. So there's a lot of ways we can solve it. If you find that you want to use CHIIRP, but we're not integrated directly, come to us. What we do is we look at that system. A lot of times there's an open API or there's webhooks, or there's some way that we can communicate with that system. And if it makes sense and we all agree, we're going to build that integration so that it will work for you. And that is, serves me as well because it opens up a new market to that integration to that CRM. So if you don't see it on the website, if you go to our site and you don't see your CRM, reach out and let's figure out a way. And even still, CHIIRP will work as a standalone if you don't have any other options. There may be a few extra steps that you have to go through, but it's better than nothing at that point.
People are like, well, that doesn't apply to me. I clean pools. That doesn't apply to me. I'm a pest control business. Like, I want to see that you were out there and did the work. You could use CHIIRP to send out messages automated through your CRM to prove that you did the work. You build checklists. It'll do as much as you want it to do and as little as you give the effort. You know what everybody's bitching about right now? I need more leads. They're all calling their marketing companies saying I need more leads.
Need more leads.
But yet they're not booking every call. They're not converting every call. They're not following up. They're not getting reviews from every customer. They're wasting their time on dry runs.
What do you hear all the time, right? These leads suck. These leads suck. These leads suck. And you go, well, maybe your systems suck. Like, I don't want to sound too negative, but it's like if you could get to the point where you feel confident that your lead conversion is at its highest point, then you can say that the leads suck. Because then you can say, hey, I can compare this to other lead sources and I have actual systems in place that show me my conversion rates. And I know until you get to that point, you should be trying everything and seeing what is causing an increase in lead conversion. And you know how it is right now. Everything's getting more expensive. Leads are getting more expensive. It's getting harder to differentiate. And so you have to make the most of what is actually coming in. And so if that should be a huge focus, instead of just going, I want more leads, take a step back, look and say, okay, we have these leads coming in. Are we converting at the rate that we should be? Can we increase that? And even if it's a 10% increase, it's a big deal.
One of the ideas I had was, I want to see a picture of the garage before I get there. If it looks like a nice home and they're looking for a wood overlay door and their garage door looks shot, I want to send a better tech that understands how service to sales works. You could literally look at the product and say, wow, this is a beat up 20-year-old door. I'm going to send a guy with samples and literature that's very good at the turnover. So we used it for that. We had a huge AR problem, right? 7%. It got out of control. This was like 6 months ago. you could send out a message to everybody that owes you money to collect.
Oh, so collections campaigns, huge, right? Trigger them at a certain point where this is all built into Service Titan where you go, okay, if they haven't paid, if they have an open balance of X dollars by this time, start this collections campaign. And that can include text messages, emails, voicemails. I have one guy that gets pretty aggressive, starts to threaten legal action, at a certain point. And that's all just automated. And it's triggering them to reach out and pay the bill. So there's another thinking outside of the box, right? Where you're like, well, follow up. Yeah, follow up on collections. Here's another one. Financing is a big deal right now. People want to self-finance. Everybody, what do they say? Financing, when you finance, you get what you want. When you pay cash, you get what you need, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to sell higher ticket items, what Lori Scholl did, Eagle Pipe Heating and Air, they're a great company. She came up with a great one. She works with Good Leap. When the customer books, and this is based on job types and business units within Service Titan, she's filtering it based on those. If it's a big enough ticket item, she's going to send a text message. Thank you so much for booking. Another text message is going to go out and say, by the way, we totally understand that this may be a financial burden, or it may be, maybe a big difficult decision for you. If that's the case, please check out our financing and see what you need, and have a link right there. She's having her technicians or comfort advisor show up and they're already pre-approved for financing and they're closing deals. So it's like just that one automation has closed her tens of thousands.
Man, we sold so far in the last 2.2 years, 40,000 service agreements.
Yeah.
Getting those booked and limiting windshield time for one day for one zip code, send them a message and let them book into our scheduler.
Yep.
It just creates so much money on memberships to create better routing. I was just talking to my buddy Lauren at Search Kings. He's like, if you don't have your chat turned on an LSA, your quality score is going to get diminished and you will not show up in the top.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
He said, you're working with CHIIRP, right? I said, yeah. He goes, you're going to get your messages turned on. Your score is going to go up and you will be dominating LSA ads. Yep. Domination of LSA. GMB optimization for reviews.
Yep.
PPC automatic response.
Yep.
Angie.
Yep.
Thumbtack.
Yep.
I could keep going with
Home Depot leads, everything.
I just think about this and it's just kind of flabbergasted. Like I want to nail it in one thing, move on to the next.
That's a good point you bring up, because you could listen to this podcast and quickly get overwhelmed and be like, holy crap, there's so much to do. And
just do one thing. It's better than nothing.
Dude, add one automation this week or this month even. Add one automation. Test it out. Add another one. And in a year, you'll have a bunch of automations, and we can work much faster than that. I'm just saying, don't get overwhelmed with the idea that there's hundreds of automations. Just start and then start chipping away at it.
You've got probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of estimates you left that no one's reached out to. You've got technicians needing work with capacity planning. Some days your schedule is full and you don't need any work. If you use this tool, just in its most simplest form, it's a cash cow.
Dude, Chris Yohankton. Actually, he came up to me to high-five me, like super stoked, because he's like, dude, I got you guys. I pulled up a bunch of estimates that we had abandoned. We'd given up on. Sent out a few broadcast messages over a couple of days. $50,000 in restored revenue that he lost. 50 grand that was just sitting there from abandoned estimates that were just going to just fade away and disappear into the CRM and never to be seen again. 50 grand. So he immediately pays for CHIIRP for however long that is. And the first campaign without even setting up any automations, that's just a broadcast message out to his list.
I'm looking directly into the camera saying that if you don't even look into this, you're lazy, you don't deserve to be in business. I'm kind of excited. I've taken a lot of notes. I'm going to go talk to my COO and I'm going to start building. Yeah. And then I'm going to build again. And then I'm going to A/B test. Then I'm going to build again. And if every dollar reaches 3 times further, then I put my competitors out of business. And I like my competitors, but I also like to win.
Yep.
Right? So when this is fully activated and it's on all your social media and it's on all your campaigns and it's letting the customer know, how could you really stand a chance without it? I think one day it's going to be the have-nots that are sitting in the loser pile because everybody's going to be on it. It's going to be a necessary evil.
Be the standard that we have to start there and innovate from there, right? And if you're not doing that, it's like you're just way behind. We integrated with a company called Searchlight, really great data company. They integrate with Service Titan or various CRMs, and they are able to match up revenue in Service Titan to outside systems like CHIIRP. So we built a very specific dashboard that says, okay, tie the revenue in Service Titan back to the campaigns that that they were in CHIIRP. We did a test across 70 companies in December. 70 companies that are using CHIIRP saw an average, I want to say it was over 200,000 in additional opportunity, somewhere between 70 and 120,000 in additional closed revenue.
So you tested 70 random companies.
70 companies. The average was somewhere between 70 and 120,000 in closed revenue.
For what kind of time period?
A month.
So $70,000 to $120,000, random, big, small, and different companies.
70 companies. That was the average. Okay. Across all those. And again, you say it's like people aren't even using any of the softwares that are out there to their fullest extent. We know that those 70 companies were not using CHIIRP to the fullest extent because nobody is quite doing it to the fullest. Even just with what they're doing, the start and these campaigns that we talked about on this call is bringing that. Just think of if you went all the way with it, you know.
Yeah, one thing at a time. But yep, I mean, what do you got to pay? 10, 20 grand for CHIIRP a month?
Yeah, 10, 20 grand. Yeah. So we start, at as low as, depending on the size of your company, we start down at like $650 a month. It goes up to $3,000-$4,000 a month, depending on the size of your company.
So you max out around $3,000-$4,000.
Yeah.
Like if you're a monster, $100 million company.
Yeah, we have giant companies using it.
And so for under a grand, I can turn on. For most companies, a smaller company doing a few million bucks.
Yeah. Like, look, at the end of the day, you and I both know it's like if I can't show a 10x value in what I'm selling, it's pretty hard to sell, right? And so we're showing like a 70x value on this. And so it's like and I don't want to sound too, pie in the sky crazy, but if you can't get a 10x out of this, like that's pretty sad.
I love this because I know what it's going to mean to A1.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, if it's the crazy thing is, there's a good chance that CHIIRP could add $100 million to our valuation.
Yeah, $100 million, dude.
And because I understand arbitrage multiples, EBITDA.
Yeah.
And I just don't think people understand these formulas. And I talk about 4 major things. This is how I build the company. This is how I could fix any company in the world. I look at what's your booking rate, including form fills, which nobody monitors. What's your conversion rate? What's your average ticket? What does it cost you to acquire a lead? There's not one thing of those 4. This is how I build my budget. This is how I buy companies. This is how I scale.
Yep.
And if you're a dentist, if you're a doctor, if you're a nail salon, if you're whatever you might be, those are the 4 things. Not one thing does CHIIRP not accelerate. On those 4 things. It lowers your cost per acquisition dramatically. It increases your call booking rate. It increases your conversion rate. And it increases your average ticket. Like, this is what it does. Yeah. Listen, I've talked enough about it. I mean, I think I'm pretty excited about it. What are your plans? I mean, I know you're a big fan of potentially getting back into California, near Orange County.
Yeah.
You want to raise your kids. You want to stay a great husband. You're a faithful man.
Yeah, thank you.
What do you see in the future for Ryan?
Well, I'm all about relationships. I'm all about it. Yeah, I am. Faith is is extremely important to me, and so this is less about making millions of dollars and more about just creating relationships that will last through my life and creating a legacy that shows that I was able to impact and help people. I recently had somebody reach out and say I had my biggest year ever because I was a sales guy in an HVAC company. I had my biggest year ever because of CHIIRP. I was able to XXX, he told me some things about he's a family man who's able to do some things that he's never been able to do with his wife as far as vacation and time spent with him. That's what drives me. And so just like you, Tommy, I don't see this ever like ending. It's like it's something that will always be improving and building. It's not like there's an end game that's just like, okay, cool, I made my million, I'm out, I see this as something that will continue to create these relationships that will just build me up so that I can better serve my family and then better serve this industry, which has just done so much for me. So
I really appreciate it. What do people do? They want to reach out to you. They want to set an appointment. They want to know more about Ryan. What's the whole communication?
So
they got to chirp into you?
Chirp it. Yeah. We're very low pressure. We want to work, like you said, the 1%. We want to work with the 1% of people that are going to implement. We want to work with the winners. So we do a demo of the system. We're going to get you on and actually look at your systems. They'll look and go, okay, you have this. Here's some things you can immediately implement. And it's kind of this more consultative approach than it is just, hey, get in and sign a contract and let's get you going. It's let's consult for a little bit, make sure this is going to be a good fit, because the last thing we want is to take your money and this not work for you. So we want to look at it and say, okay, this is going to work. Let's jump in. These are the first strategies that can work with. If you decide it's right for you, you sign up. Then what's awesome, and this is what I think is just a huge part of the value of CHIIRP, is we don't just go, here's your software, good luck. You actually get assigned an automation expert. That automation expert is going to onboard you over the first month. They're going to go through step by step, help you set up these various automations. And you're going to choose, what do you want to focus on in your business? Do you want to focus on speed delete, focus on reviews? Do you want to focus on all these things? And they're going to help you set up those campaigns, and you're going to be on with them learning how to do this. So then now you can go, okay, cool, I want to build a new automation. Sweet, build it out. You know how to do it. If you don't know how to do it, or if you're still not comfortable, you still have that automation expert in your pocket for the rest of the time you're with CHIIRP. You can reach out to them and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. How do I build this? Boom, let's jump in. I'll show you how. And so you're not just getting a software, you're getting a software and a partner here at CHIIRP to help you implement. What you can do is you can schedule that first call at chirp.com, CHIIRP.com. Don't forget the 2 I's. Just click on schedule demo. It'll ask you a couple questions, what time you want to do it at, and you'll schedule that, and you'll get on with one of my experts, and they'll show you how to do it. So,
what if they want to know more about Ryan?
Want to know about Ryan? Ryan at chirp.com. Shoot me an email. Let's talk.
Ryan at CHIIRP, 2 I's.
Yep.
I appreciate all the listeners. Thanks, Ryan, for being here.
Thank you, Tommy. Appreciate it, man.
you very much.
Okay.
And we're
Thanks,
out.
everybody.